Sven, thank you so much for coming to have this chat with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Spencer.
I'm excited to learn more about Nautexe Global. Just to begin and to get going, could you just give me an idea of how the company came into being and really what you seek to achieve as a company?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me, Spencer.
No, it's a pleasure. Thanks to you for coming.
So I'm one of 5 co-founders of Nautexe Global. My role is Sales and Marketing Director. At the moment, that means telling the story, or attempting to tell the story, and lead on sort of pre-engagement with customers ahead of, to help shape the design of the Nautexe Extreme Environment Centre facility. So I've been with the business since the beginning, which is about 18 months now.
So about a year and a half.
About a year and a half. And really the aim of Nautexe Global is to help our customers achieve their objectives in high-risk environments. So we say capability development in high-risk environments. And we do that in sort of 2 primary ways. And I'm speaking in the present tense. The facility is a planned facility.
Yes, it's still to be completed.
Still
but
to be completed.
Gives us an idea of what you seek to achieve once it's up and running.
And so, in terms of how the business achieves that capability development goal, one strand is the infrastructure, the facility, and that's a very large and deep test tank with surrounding infrastructure that provides engineering capability, communications capability, logistics capability for our customers to bring their technology or their people, test, evaluate that ahead of putting it into operational environments. And the goal of that is to reduce the risk, time and friction of taking their technology from sort of TRL4 to TRL7, where they put it into that operation environment, if it's okay to use that sort of terminology.
Sort of a development technology. So from where you've had a concept, or you have a piece of technology, you're changing it, and you're developing it into a new offer.
The technology readiness level is a curve from 0 to 9. 0 and 1 being the sort of ideation stages, and 9 being the operational stages. And our bit is in the middle of that, post prototyping or post early prototyping and pre-operational deployment. Our job is to help our customers build that capability and get ready in that middle part of developing the technology.
And just going back then, Sven, to Nautexe Global, I've watched the video. I would encourage anybody who's watching this to look at the video, and we'll put the link in the chat too, because the video is very... Just talk to me about the edge, the extreme parts of our world that you're focused on, because I think this is exciting. It's this space, for instance, and deep underwater. These are exciting areas. We all get excited about them because I suppose we don't know much about those spaces.
Yeah, indeed.
But just to give me an idea of the type of extreme range, you talk about the edge of possibility almost.
Yeah, well, we'll do that. And if I could just close that previous thought was the second part of what we do is provide expertise to customers that are working in those environments. So it's partly the physical infrastructure, and it's partly the expertise and deep domain knowledge to support that capability development.
Fantastic.
And those domains, which leads into your question, is everything from subsea to space. Anywhere where the environment is such that it's actively working against smooth operations. So we work in across all of those domains, and including, for example, subsea robotics, and we can talk perhaps in a bit more detail about those different things, to surface. Ocean surface technology to people and equipment operating in space. So it's from subsea to space, those extreme environments where human beings are not naturally at home, and the equipment is tested due to the environmental conditions.
And they're extreme conditions. So if you think about a submersible going underwater, it reaches a particular underwater level where it becomes critical whether it can operate or not.
Exactly. Extreme pressure, variable visual and acoustic environment, subsurface current, waves, wind, microgravity when you go to space. So, all of those areas are what we call extreme environments or high-risk environments.
And so, absolutely. So you're working now to bring forward this test facility, which to a lay person, again, I encourage people to go and have a look at the plans through the link. But it's a very big tank which has a stepped level. Correct. So it has a slightly smaller depth and then a bigger depth.
Yeah.
And you were talking to me previously about how that space is mirrored by a digital space. So just explain to me a bit more how those two interface, the digital and the physical, so to speak.
Yeah, so the physical space is a 40 metre by 60 metre footprint. So the surface is 40 metres by 60 metres. And there are 3 zones.
So it's quite big.
Yeah, on the surface it's quite big.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you go down 10 metres, the shallow end is 10 metres, which is 5 times the depth of a swimming pool. The next level is 15 metres, and then there's a shaft that descends a further 15 metres, so a total of 30 metres. And it's 35,000 cubic metres of water.
Wow.
A large volume, and the reason is the bit of the process that we are serving is where you need to put full scale prototype or an operational technology into the water. There are existing facilities around the UK and internationally where they're scaled down facilities with environmental control. So you could put a scale model of a surface vessel or a submersible vessel in a scale tank and control the waves, for example. And there are some facilities which are large bodies of water, like the ocean, like Plymouth Smart Sound, or the deep facility, the quarry, is 80 metres deep, I believe, but doesn't have the controllable environmental conditions. So the sweet spot for us is the large volume of water, the controllable environmental conditions, and that includes waves across the surface, so up to 1.5 meters, sea state 3.
Gosh, that's a big swell.
It's a big swell, and a wind across the surface, configurable again, and 2 zones of subsurface currents. So, and that's turbulent, laminar flow, variable strength and frequency. So, again, you put your equipment and your seabed prop or your floating offshore wind anchor prop in full size in the tank in those controllable environmental conditions, and that gives you the best possible analog for actually putting the equipment out in the operational environment.
So you're almost testing it in the real world.
Yeah,
at a scale as close as you can before you put it into the extreme.
And that's to de-risk and reduce the cost. And reduce the friction to taking it, because ultimately you will put it into the operational environment.
You want to be as sure as possible that when you do take it into the operational environment, it's going to do what it says on the tin.
Yeah, because if you lose, your technology in the ocean, it's a lot harder to retrieve than it is in our facility. And your question about the digital twin, so this is a really unique and interesting part of it. The physical facility is enhanced by a digital twin, which provides customers the opportunity to simulate their equipment in the digital environment first before putting it into the physical environment. Yeah. And there's also a feedback loop whereby the data that we gather, the fluid dynamics data, the equipment performance data feeds back into that digital twin, and means that the physical capacity for the tank isn't the ceiling for what you can learn and how you can use it. So the digital twin is integral, and it's a feedback loop. The physical facility feeds the data, and the data helps us, helps the customers.
So Sven, do I understand correctly? So if I had something in the physical tank,
Yeah.
I can take it to a more extreme environment almost through the digital twin. Did I understand correctly, or not quite?
Well, no, the digital twin is designed to be a replica of the tank's capability.
Okay, so it's an exact replica,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, and what that does is it enables, before you perhaps build your physical prototype and bring it into the tank, you can use the digital environment to do your earlier tests. Then when you bring it to the physical environment, you will either validate or disprove that what you learnt from the physical environment, and that will feed back in to the sort of growing data that will accumulate through that digital twin.
Can I just ask immediately, do facilities like this, I presume there's nothing like this in the UK, where would I have to go to get something not dissimilar in the world?
Yeah,
is this unique?
It is unique in a lot of ways. I mean, we mentioned earlier, there are some very good scale prototype tanks, and there are some large bodies of water for testing and evaluation in the UK. But our uniqueness is the configurability, the repeatability, the usability. You can use the tank, the facility 300 days a year, 3 8-hour shifts a day. So you can work at midnight, and that's not very easy to do when you're out on the ocean.
No, of course.
So there are facilities in the UK, but our proposal is to complement those facilities. They still have a part to play in that technology readiness curve. The early stages, you put your scale model in a scale test tank, and in the later stages, you will put your equipment in the ocean. But our goal is to de-risk, de-cost, and de-friction that middle part. There are other places in the world where one could go. There are facilities in Europe, in Asia, in America, that have some of the capability that we're proposing.
But of course the technology is developing all of the time
yeah,
too.
Indeed.
So you're bringing the new AI and other technology
and
alongside.
the environmental conditions, which like the neutral buoyancy lab that NASA has, doesn't have those same environmental conditions. So
how exciting! It could be a case of our American colleagues bring their kit over to
that's part of the argument.
Exeter in the southwest to test.
Absolutely, because at the moment, to meet the needs of that middle part of the TRL curve, you would have to go to Europe, you would have to go to Asia, you would have to go to the United States, and so we're exporting, to those countries instead of bringing that value here. And when you send your testing and evaluation to another country, then you're sending your ideas there as well. Whereas if we turn that on its head and we build this facility here, then we can import, from those countries, that testing and evaluation as well. So not only does it sort of retain the value for the UK, but it also encourages international investment in the southwest and in the UK.
Fantastic. Now you're from Cornwall. I'm travelling to Cornwall tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm off to Truro to see my middle son.
Very nice.
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good. Why Exeter and why the southwest? Because big projects like this, you could go almost anywhere in the UK, I would have thought. But what is specific about Exeter, the science park?
Yeah.
How did you come on your decision for this location, this sub-region?
Yeah, thank you, Spencer. So it starts with the southwest as the ideal location, or regional location for the facility, because the southwest already has a lot going for it in a number of these sectors. So in sort of to the south, you've got the Plymouth maritime and defence sort of corridor. To the north, you've got the Celtic offshore wind zone. There's an existing space ecosystem. There's an existing defence ecosystem across the southwest, and these are all the converging markets, all the converging sectors that we will serve. So first of all, the southwest is the perfect location for the centre. Accessibility is good. We're just off the M5, so even accessibility from London down the M4 is
down
good.
The M5, it's good.
Yeah. So the southwest first, and then why Exeter? Well, part of the answer to that is Exeter's interest in us. So we went out and looked at a number of different locations, and we felt that the Exeter Science Park location was perfect because there's some existing infrastructure there. We haven't got to start from a brownfield site and build everything from scratch. There's existing infrastructure there, there's existing access there, there are existing businesses there. Exeter Science Park's goals and objectives are very well aligned with ours. And we feel that by building a facility at Exeter Science Park, that's the perfect place to nurture the growth of these other businesses that will come around Nautexe Global and around the Extreme Environment Centre. So yeah, that's the reason for the Southwest and for Exeter specifically. Plymouth is very accessible. Cornwall's very accessible. The North Coast, Bristol is very accessible. The Celtic Sea is very accessible. So yeah, it's a perfect location. There's an airport just adjacent as well.
Yeah. This is good. And just how will the facility interface with young people? Because I can imagine the whole educational aspect. If I was a teacher, this would be something. If I was a science teacher, I'd be very interested to visit.
Yeah.
How once the facility's there, and given that it will have all sorts of commercial and different interfaces, how will the educational side of that interface with schools, young people? And of course I'm thinking about university students and colleges, and we're here at Exeter College. How will they interface?
So this is personally for me a really exciting and interesting part of the picture. Right. So for a bit of context, when I go out and do the engagement work with customers, when I go out to events, when I listen to people speaking, there are three sort of critical bottlenecks that I hear about with regards to building the capability to meet the UK strategic goals, like energy resilience, like defence resilience, like critical underwater infrastructure. And those three bottlenecks are testing and evaluation, proving that it works, certification, proving that it works in a repeatable way to a certain level that's acceptable by regulators and by insurers, so that you can take that functionally working technology and put it in a commercially viable environment. And then the third theme that I hear is skills, the skills challenge, and this is what you're asking me about. And that's about yes, you've got to develop the technology to deliver 50 gigawatts of offshore wind energy by 2030. You've got to build, deploy, maintain, and operate significant infrastructure in high-risk, hostile environments. And to do that, you need people with the right skills.
Correct.
So the skills part is really important, but you can't fix it at the recruitment stage, right? You can't just go out and recruit more engineers and ROV operators. We need to feed the funnel. We need to feed the talent pipeline. And for me, that's really interesting and important part of what we do. And that starts, believe it or not, at primary school age. And prior to working for Nautexe Global, I worked for a fantastic company called Primary Engineer, which aims to inspire young people into engineering careers by showing them how cool engineering is.
So you've got a great background in this.
Yeah, and that's why it's personally interesting to me as well. So, in order to have a healthy pool of talent to recruit from, you need you need university graduates, you need apprentices, you need people in further education that are pursuing the right skills. In order to get that, you need people in secondary school that are interested in engineering and have the engineering habits of mind ingrained in their ways of thinking. And in order to feed that, you need primary school kids that are interested in engineering, that are interested in the environment, that are interested in technology. And so, you know, this is a long-term prospect, and if we start now, maybe in 15 years, we'll start to have the sort of talent pool building that we need to meet these UK strategic objectives, which are the same objectives that Nautexe Global is trying to meet as well. So these things all fit together. How we will do that in reality, in practice, and we're already doing this, is partnerships with academic institutions at every level. So we already do work with universities and colleges. We go in and we do lectures and seminars. We already work with, for example, Exeter College, where we are today, on innovation competition to nurture imagination and innovation in young people.
Fantastic.
So, you know, that all of that is super important. And as I say, we don't have an operational facility yet, but we will need people that, you know, are suitably qualified and suitably interested to operate that facility. And the broader picture is across those markets, across those domains, we need engineering skills, we need interest in science and maths and artificial intelligence, so that we've got the people that we need to deliver on these strategic objectives.
And you can be a lightning rod, really, because by creating what you're going to create, that gives the inspiration to young people, because they can see it, whether it's on their doorstep or they will learn about it. Actually, what we're doing today, but sharing what you're hoping to achieve will inspire young people, as you've said, at whatever age, to think this could be a career for me. And of course, you're not necessarily going to think about that immediately if there wasn't something like a Nautexe Global.
It's sparking the interest. And, you know, pre-development, where we are now, it's about, you know, getting out and engaging with young people and inspiring them generally. Once we get to planning and then construction, then there's a really exciting infrastructure project right here that, if you're in a construction pathway at Exeter College, can be something that you can follow along with your course. And then when we're operational, we've got a wonderful facility where we can bring people in.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. So once the facility's there, except it's some years away perhaps, or less than some years away, there will be the ability for young people to come and physically see the facility, you know, to look through the glass at the tank and that kind of thing.
That's absolutely the intention. You know, we have to balance.
So you've got to balance that with the client's needs. They might not necessarily want people
you can't come
seeing
and watch
their...
the MOD.
Absolutely. Maybe I'll come along with my camera and take a bit. But there'll be a way for the whether it's a visitor centre or room or something.
And you know, using our facility as a demonstration facility, so or you know, a conferencing facility to a certain extent. So you know, we're really that's a really important part of what we're aiming to build, is something that will not only deliver what our customers need commercially and operationally, but will help to nurture the sectors that we're working in, will help the UK towards those strategic objectives, to function as a hub that will amplify and accelerate collaboration and bring ideas and people together in one place. That's the plan.
Fantastic. So give me an idea of where you are in the planning process. Clearly, you've started your designs. I've seen pictures of the tank. Whereabouts are you? How far are you off putting a planning application in? And I saw there was an ITV interview recently where I could see the plot of land that you were looking at the science park. Just give us an idea of where you're at now, what the next key steps are for you as you progress towards hopefully a planning application which is approved.
Yeah, very soon. So where we're at now is we're concluding the REBA stage 2. So REBA is the sort of phases of developing pieces of infrastructure. We're just concluding REBA stage 2. So we've been working with the project delivery team, the architects to, and importantly, based on the engagement and the customer feedback that we've had, that's been a critical element to developing the facility in such a way that we're building what those customers need.
Very important. You don't want to build something which people don't want to
build
use.
it and they will come, maybe. Build what they want and they will come.
Absolutely, very important.
So through that market engagement and through working with the architect, we have plans for the facility on the location at Exeter Science Park. We've done some work around the local impact, the engineering challenges that come with digging a big hole and filling it with 35,000 litres of water. So that's where we're at in terms of the facility design. Is conceptual design well advanced now through customer engagement. Part of that engagement process has also been to ask potential customers, if we build this, would you use it? And if so, how much?
Yes. And
so we have soft commitments for facility usage at about 22% of the of capacity. Now, I appreciate soft commitments isn't contracts, but
the companies have expressed an interest to say if this facility was there, we could consider using it.
Yeah, they've put in writing that if you build it in this certain way, then we would use it up to X amount of days or shifts a year, and that's been really important because it helps us refine and prioritise what's important to the customers, and it helps us tell a compelling story to investors and stakeholders, and demonstrate that market demand. So as a 22% soft commitment, some of which will eventually convert into pre-completion contracts, because our customers know what they're working on and what their programs are and how far they stretch into the future. So we believe that there'll be contracts secured before we're open. We'll continue between now and then to engage with customers, understand their needs and wants, refine the design, and ultimately turn that interest into contracts. We've also had strategic letters of support, so from organisations that may not be direct users of the facility, but maybe are industry bodies or floating offshore wind developers who see the importance of infrastructure like this to help mobilise their supply chain to deliver on their goals. So I think we can tell a really compelling story in terms of the need and the commercial viability of infrastructure like this.
And so just coming back to the planning, when would you hope to get planning? Because one of the things with projects like this is you raise the flag, people become very interested, they want to know very quickly, when are you going to start building this? Is it next week or is it...
Yeah, and the customers often ask, how quickly can you build it? Because we really want to
we need the facility and we want it built.
So the intention is to get into planning next year. Right, and we're already doing some of the pre-work with planning, and there are obviously lots of aspects to that. And then, as soon as planning permission's granted, then it's about closing the capital financing and then building.
That the $1 million question: what sort of ballpark cost?
About 150 million, between 125 and 150 million capital project costs to deliver. And that would give us an operational facility in 2029.
So that's the plan to deliver the facility.
That's the timeline. Yeah.
Seems like it's not a small amount of money. I have to tread carefully. It's still 150 million pounds, but I think there's a lot of great economic value and facility opportunity. I'm just thinking about the supply chain and all of the other types of companies that would want to engage on different levels if this came to Exeter and South West.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, in addition to the value, obviously, that you give to your customers by, plugging this challenge, this gap that they have, what problem are we solving for the customer? It's this, developing the technology in this middle TRL 4 to 7. But again, the really interesting thing for the Southwest is you build infrastructure like this, you create value through an infrastructure project. It's about £270 million GVA, through the construction of the facility. We create 70 jobs directly and about another 100 jobs indirectly in the vicinity and as part of that supply chain. And importantly, and we touched on this a little bit before, it amplifies and it accelerates the work that other companies are already doing.
Yes. It's the innovation, it's the research, it's the breaking new ground. And Exeter and the Southwest is at the front of these type of...
And that's...
I almost said maritime, but...
Maritime, offshore wind, we talked about those sectors. And it's not easy to quantify that value, but I think everybody understands how it comes about. We did commission an independent economic impact study as a part of a strategic outline business case, which is where those numbers come from. I didn't just make those up.
We won't hold you exactly.
Hopefully, I'll remember them right. But those numbers, indicate the value that's created for the Southwest. So. We're helping to address the big strategic challenges for the UK. We're delivering a nationally significant piece of infrastructure. We're creating value in the Southwest. We're creating jobs. We're creating opportunities. We're creating a pipeline of skill that feeds back into that whole loop again. So that when we have this operational offshore wind generation, when we have a hybrid navy, we have the skills to maintain and stay ahead. The UK has always been a leader in innovation, maritime innovation as an island, and our goal is to facilitate all of that.
It's very interesting because I get to travel pretty regularly outside of the country too, and I can imagine there'll be lots of international interest. Only recently I was in India where they were talking about onshore and offshore wind.
Yes.
It's become a very important part of the things that they, as a country, need to do. They have to do. So I presume this will also attract people internationally to the Southwest.
Yes, I hope so, and position us, maintain our position, let's say, as a leader and an innovator in these areas. So that's the hope, is that through the infrastructure that we build and the skills that we nurture and the capability that we deliver, the UK can retain its sovereign ability, defence ability, energy resilience, and as you say, attract international interest in those areas.
Yes.
And still be a leader in those respects.
Final question. There's always a question about money. You've mentioned the 125 to 150 million.
Yeah.
I presume there'll be a whole mix of different funding agencies, whether it's local authorities, whether it's national government, whether it's private investment. Just give me a flavour of how you see the mix.
Yeah, I'm not the person to answer the specific percentages, but yes, a mixture of all of those. Private investment, equity. We are bidding for appropriate grants, and the capital finance comes from structured the normal sort of structured finance for such an infrastructure project, I'll have to come back to you on the specific percentages, but it's a mixed.
All that will change as the weeks go ahead.
Yeah.
And then just a final question, Sven. So there are lots of partnerships. You mentioned you're partnering with Exeter College. I presume you'll be partnering with a local authority, with sub-regional agencies. You have existing and developing relationships.
Yeah, thank you. We have an MOU with Exeter Science Park and its shareholders, so the local authorities, the university.
That's fantastic.
We have an MOU with Exeter College. We have MOUs with some of our potential customers. Right. We have lots of interesting discussions happening under NDA.
Yes.
So yeah, we're really working hard to network and ask questions and position ourselves as, credibly, and position this infrastructure proposal as a credible solution, because it is. But you do get a certain amount of skepticism with any ambitious project. So yeah, that's part of the work at the moment. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about it, because this is a great,
It's a pleasure, and if this gets to someone out there who wants to make contact with Nautexe, they can come to you, and you'll be happy to have that chat, because it is about creating those relationships, and those new introductions for potential partners.
Yeah, we have a phased we have phased fundraising that we need to do. So we're happy to talk to investors and happy to talk to customers. I think at the moment the priorities would be, if you've got a use case for a large testing and evaluation piece of infrastructure like this, reach out, talk to us, tell us what it is.
You'd like to chat to those.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to them so we can understand it, and we can continue to shape the facility design. If you're interested in investing in a project like this, reach out, because that's the only way that it gets delivered, and it's an infrastructure investment, so it's not an instant return, but it's something that will compound and grow and has significant value beyond a real estate. It's not just a real estate investment. It creates a lot of value and opportunity around that.
It's multifaceted. It touches all sorts. I'm particularly excited about the skills bit, because I think it will be inspirational for young people to see such a facility. And again, to end, Sven, I would encourage anyone who's watching this or listening to this to see the video, because these extreme parts of our world, it gets you thinking on all sorts of different levels.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to think about the how building that capability in those environments has all these knock-on effects. One of the areas where we work currently is in human performance in space, and how what you learn about the human body in space and in microgravity translates to medicine, terrestrial medicine, how what you learn about aging and pulmonary disease, or how satellite communications enables remote medicine in rural Africa. And so when you start to scratch under the surface and understand what Nautexe Global is doing beyond building this piece of infrastructure, it's a fascinating and exciting story and opportunity. And I'd invite anybody that's interested to reach out to me on LinkedIn or make contact via the Nautexe Global website. We'd love to have a conversation.
Fantastic. Sven, thank you for your time. It's been really interesting to chat to you.
Thank you, Spencer.